My daughter looked me in the eye and said, "Find somewhere else to die, Mom. You're useless now." That was it. After 43 years of marriage, after raising her, after giving her everything, I was thrown out like garbage. 3 days later, she was calling me, begging on her knees. And oh, how the tables turned. 2 months ago, I was still Margaret Holloway. A wife, a mother, a woman who thought her family was her safe place. My husband, Richard, died suddenly of a heart attack at 71. I thought grief would break me, but what really broke me was what came after. My only daughter, Vanessa, swept in like some savior in designer heels. She hugged me, comforted me, told me I couldn't manage the house alone. "Mom, you shouldn't live here anymore," she said with fake sweetness. The stares, the memories, it's not healthy. I should have seen through her performance. But I was numb, desperate for support. She kept bringing her husband, Tyler, to dinner. They'd corner me with brochures about retirement communities. "You'll have people your age, activities, no stress," they said. What they meant was, no inheritance, no inconvenient mother hanging around. 6 weeks after Richard's funeral, Vanessa arrived unannounced with Tyler and 2 suitcases. She didn't even sit down. "Mom, we've made a decision. Tyler got promoted. We need this house. It's perfect for us." I stared at her. "Move in? But this is my home." Her mask dropped. "Actually, according to Dad's will, everything belongs to me. The house, the investments, all of it. I've been letting you stay out of kindness. But it's time for you to leave." I felt the air leave my body. "Surely, this is a mistake." "No mistake," she cut me off. "Dad knew I'd take care of everything better than you. You never understood money. You were just the wife." Just the wife. 3 words that erased my entire life. Then came the killing blow. "Find somewhere else to die, Mom. You're useless now." I packed my things in silence. 43 years of marriage shrunk into 2 suitcases and a box of photos. Tyler loaded them into his shiny SUV like he was taking out trash. Vanessa handed me $200 in cash. This should cover a few nights at a motel. That was it. I was homeless. The sun set and smelled like cigarettes and despair. The thin mattress sagged under my weight as I tried to process the fact that my own child had discarded me like an old coat. My house, was hers now. But as I sat there, something gnawed at me. Richard had been meticulous about documents. He'd shown me the will years ago. I remembered it clearly. The house, most assets, all for me. That's what he'd said. Richard wasn't cruel. He wasn't perfect, but he would never leave me destitute. The next morning, I took the bus downtown and walked into the office of Richard's lawyer, Thomas Bennett. He looked surprised to see me. "Margaret, I've been trying to reach you. Vanessa told me you were traveling." "Traveling?" That's what she told him. "Mr. Bennett," I said, my voice trembling. "I need to see Richard's will." He frowned. "Didn't Vanessa give you your copy? We had the reading weeks ago." My stomach dropped. I wasn't at any reading. Vanessa said I inherited nothing. The lawyer's face went pale. He opened a thick folder, his hands suddenly shaking. "That's impossible. Richard's will is very clear." I leaned forward, my heart pounding. He read aloud. "I leave our primary residence, 847 Willow Lane, to my beloved wife, Margaret Holloway. I also bequeath to her 70% of all financial assets, totaling approximately $22 million. I froze. $22 million. The house. 70% of everything. "And to my daughter, Vanessa," he continued, "I leave $10 million to be held in trust. Distributions begin on her 45th birthday, contingent on her treatment of her mother after my death." I almost fell out of the chair. Contingent upon her treatment of me. Richard had known. He'd seen it coming. "Mr. Bennett," I whispered. "Vanessa told me I had nothing. She threw me out. She gave me $200 and told me to find a senior home." The lawyer's jaw clenched. "Margaret, what she's done is elder fraud. Multiple felonies. And she just cost herself $10 million. That inheritance reverts to you. Which means, you don't just inherit $22 million. You inherit 32. Plus the house. Plus everything else." The irony was so sharp, it almost made me laugh. Vanessa's greed had destroyed her own future. "What do we do now?" I asked, barely able to breathe. He leaned forward, eyes blazing. "Now, Margaret, we take everything back. And then, we make sure your daughter learns exactly what it means to underestimate you." I left Thomas Bennett's office in a daze, clutching a copy of Richard's reel like it was a lifeline. $32 million. My house. Everything. My daughter had lied, forged, manipulated, and now she was about to lose it all. But the relief came tangled with rage. I replayed her words in my mind. "Find somewhere else to die? You're useless now." "Not anymore." Thomas wasted no time. He called the police to report possible elder abuse and fraud. He notified the banks, freezing every account tied to Richard's estate. By tomorrow morning, he told me, Vanessa's cards will start declining. Utility accounts, she switched to her name? Suspended. Property transfers? Reversed. She'll have no idea what hit her. And that's exactly how it unfolded. By noon the next day, Vanessa called me. I didn't pick up. At 2:15, she left a voicemail, her voice shrill. Mom, the bank says the accounts are locked. Something's wrong. We need to talk. I almost laughed. But then something unexpected happened. Detective Alvarez, the officer handling the fraud complaint, showed up at my motel room with a folder. He laid it on the table. Mrs. Holloway, we've confirmed your daughter used forged documents to claim the estate. But here's the thing. You might be dealing with more than just family betrayal. He opened the folder. Inside were copies of the fake Vanessa had used. The signatures were eerily precise, almost indistinguishable from Richard's. Too good. These weren't made by some casual con artist, Alvarez said. This level of forgery takes professional equipment. Which means, your son-in-law Tyler probably wasn't just helping Vanessa emotionally. He was in on it, and he may have criminal connections. A chill crept up my spine. Tyler, the golden boy investment banker. Always so smooth, so polished. Could he have arranged all this? Alvarez leaned closer. We think Tyler may have used contacts in his financial circle to pull this off. We're digging into his records. But Mrs. Holloway, this is serious. These aren't just family squabbles. This is felony fraud, maybe even organized financial crime. I swallowed hard. Suddenly, it wasn't just about me and Vanessa anymore. There were bigger forces in play. That evening, while I sat in Thomas's office signing affidavits, Vanessa showed up uninvited. She stormed in like a hurricane, her face pale but burning with rage. Mom, what did you do? She shrieked, slamming her manicured hands on Thomas's desk. Why are my accounts frozen? Why is my house listed in your name again? I looked at her calmly. Because it's my house. Always was. And your inheritance? You just lost it by treating me like trash. Her mouth fell open. That's not possible. Dad left everything to me. He told me. No, I cut her off. He left me 70%. And you 10, contingent on how you treated me. Guess what? You failed. The silence that followed was electric. Vanessa's face turned red, then white. Her voice cracked. You can't do this to me. I'm your daughter. Thomas spoke firmly. Vanessa, what you did is criminal. Forgery, fraud, elder abuse. The police are already involved. You should leave before you make things worse. Vanessa glared at him, then at me. Her mask of control shattered. You'll regret this, Mom. You don't know who you're dealing with. She spun on her heel and stormed out. For a moment, the office was silent. Thomas exhaled. She's panicking. She'll lash out again. Be ready. And he was right. That night, my motel phone rang. It wasn't Vanessa this time. It was Tyler. His voice was cold, calculated. Margaret, listen carefully. You've stirred up something you don't understand. This isn't just about Vanessa's inheritance anymore. You're messing with people who don't like losing money. My stomach nodded. What are you talking about? He chuckled. Let's just say, the people who helped me arrange those documents, they don't forgive easily. And now that everything's collapsing, they'll be looking for someone to blame. The line went dead. I sat frozen on the edge of the bed, the cheap motel walls closing in around me. It wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It wasn't just family drama. My daughter and her husband had dragged me into something darker. For the first time since Richard's death, I felt real fear. But fear didn't erase the spark of determination burning inside me. Vanessa had underestimated me once. Tyler thought I'd crumble. They were both wrong. The next morning, I walked back into Thomas's office. My voice was steady. We're not just fighting for my inheritance anymore. We're fighting for my survival. So tell me, Thomas, how do we win this war? The next 48 hours were chaos. Banks froze the accounts. Utilities were suspended. Credit cards bounced. By Friday morning, Vanessa's perfect suburban life was collapsing like a badly built stage set. And then the police showed up. I was in Thomas's office when Detective Alvarez called. His voice carried a mix of triumph and exhaustion. Mrs. Holloway, we've secured a warrant. Your daughter will be picked up tonight. Picked up. Arrested. My daughter. The same girl I'd rocked to sleep. The same teenager I'd driven to prom in Richard's old sedan. How had it come to this? By 8 p.m., the news was already spreading. A local reporter called Thomas for comment. Prominent investment banker's wife under investigation for elder fraud. That headline was everywhere by morning. Vanessa tried to spin it, of course. She called me, her voice shaking but still carrying that entitled edge. Mom, you don't understand. This is just a misunderstanding. We can fix this if you drop the charges. Please, Think about the grandchildren. I nearly choked. Think about them. Vanessa, you kicked their grandmother out on the street with 2 suitcases. You told me to go die? Did you think about them then? Silence. Then a whimper. I was protecting Dad's legacy. You don't get it. Oh, I get it, I snapped. You wanted money. And now? You don't get a dime. Click. She hung up. The next morning, she showed up at my motel. Hair disheveled, makeup smeared, eyes red like she hadn't slept in days. For once, Vanessa didn't look like a glossy magazine cover. She looked like what she was, a cornered liar. Mom, please, she whispered, her voice cracking. Don't let them arrest me. I'll lose everything. Tyler's already furious. He says people are watching us, people you don't want to mess with. If I go down, we all go down. Her hands shook as she reached for me, but I pulled back. You didn't think of me when you shoved me into a motel room. Why should I think of you now? She fell to her knees. Yes, my daughter, the self-proclaimed heir, the one who smirked as she stole my house, was kneeling on a stained motel carpet begging. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. But please, Mom, I can't go to jail. Tyler says they'll come after us if we don't pay back what's lost. There it was again. That shadow. Those people Tyler had mentioned. I crouched down, looked her dead in the eye, and whispered, you should have thought about consequences before you signed forged papers. Richard saw this coming. He tried to protect me from you. And he did. He wrote it into the will. Her face drained of color. Dad knew? Yes. He knew exactly who you were. Her body crumpled like a child hearing a bedtime story turn nightmare. He hated me. No, I said coldly. He loved you enough to test you. And you failed. That night, Vanessa was arrested at dinner with Tyler. According to Alvarez, she screamed at the officers, threatened to sue, even demanded special treatment because of her husband's job. The restaurant patrons recorded it all. By morning, videos of Vanessa shrieking, "Do you know who I am?" were plastered all over social media. She became a meme. The mighty Vanessa Holloway Hayes, reduced to a punchline. And yet, something about Tyler's expression in the footage sent a chill through me. He didn't look panicked. He didn't even look surprised. He looked calculating, almost smug. The next day, Thomas confirmed my unease. Margaret, Tyler has powerful connections in finance. If he's mixed up in darker dealings, Vanessa's arrest might just be the start of something bigger. We need to be careful. I stared at the copy of Richard's will on the desk, my hands trembling with equal parts rage and fear. My daughter was behind bars, humiliated, her reputation shredded. But the man she married? He was still out there, pulling strings, maybe ready to drag me into something worse. I poured myself a glass of water, but my hand shook so hard it sloshed onto the table. Thomas reached over and steadied it. Margaret, listen. You've survived grief, betrayal, homelessness. Don't let them break you now. This is your fight to win. And for the first time in days, I allowed myself a bitter smile. Vanessa had wanted to watch me crumble. Instead, she was the one falling apart, while I was just getting started. But Tyler's warning lingered in the back of my mind like a shadow creeping closer. People who don't like losing money. Who exactly had my son-in-law dragged into our lives? Court day arrived like a thunderstorm. The courthouse steps swarmed with cameras, microphones, and curious onlookers. Vanessa had always craved attention, but not like this. When they brought her in wearing an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs, the crowd gasped. My daughter, who once spent hours curating the perfect Instagram selfies, now shuffled into court like a criminal. Because she was one. And then she pulled her first stunt. The judge barely finished reading the charges: forgery, fraud, elder abuse, when Vanessa leapt to her feet and shouted, "This is all a lie. My mother's unstable. She doesn't know what she's doing. I was protecting her from herself." The room erupted. Gasps. Murmurs. A reporter in the back actually laughed. The judge slammed his gavel. "Order. Miss Hayes, sit down, or I will have you removed." Vanessa ignored him. She spun toward me, her eyes wild. "Mom, tell them you're confused. Tell them you didn't understand Dad's will. We can fix this, please." I sat frozen. Part of me wanted to cry. The other part wanted to clap. Her meltdown was being broadcast live. The mighty Vanessa, undone by her own desperation. 2 deputies dragged her back into her seat. The judge's face was stone. "Ms. Hayes, this courtroom is not your stage. Any further outbursts will result in contempt." But she wasn't done humiliating herself. When the prosecutor presented evidence of the forged documents, Vanessa shrieked, "Those aren't mine. Tyler made me do it." Another explosion. Heads turned. Even Tyler, sitting with his lawyer, went pale. For the first time, he looked rattled. Vanessa had thrown him under the bus on live television. That clip spread like wildfire. Within hours, social media was flooded with hashtags. Hashtag Vanessa versus Tyler. Hashtag heiress meltdown. And my personal favorite, hashtag find somewhere else to die. Vanessa had become internet infamy. Later, in the holding cell after the hearing, she tried again. She managed a phone call to me. Her voice trembled, but her manipulative edge was still there. Mom, you saw what happened. They're turning me into a villain. Please, drop the charges. We can say it was a misunderstanding. I'll even move out of the house if you want. Just don't let them destroy me. I let her finish. Then I asked quietly, destroy you? Or expose you? She broke down, sobbing into the phone. I'm your daughter. Doesn't that mean anything? I almost whispered yes. Almost. But then I remembered the motel, the $200, the words she spat at me. Find somewhere else to die? No, Vanessa, I said firmly. Daughter is a title you threw away when you chose greed over family. You made this bed. Now lie in it. I hung up before she could respond. But the circus wasn't over. As I stepped out of the courthouse, a young woman with a microphone darted toward me. Bright eyes, quick smile, notebook in hand. Mrs. Holloway? My name's Jenna Brooks. I'm with the Sentinel. I've been covering financial abuse cases for years. What your daughter did, it's explosive. Would you be willing to tell your story? I hesitated. Cameras flashed around me, microphones shoved forward. Jenna leaned closer, her voice dropping. This isn't just gossip. What happened to you could help other victims. And I think your daughter's downfall is just the beginning. People need to hear your side. Her words stuck. Maybe she was right. Maybe shining a light on this ugliness was the only way to take the power away from Vanessa and Tyler. That night, I replayed Vanessa's courtroom meltdown on the evening news. The sight of her screaming, blaming, clawing for control, it was almost unbearable. Almost. Then my phone buzzed. A restricted number. I answered cautiously. It was Vanessa again, calling from jail. Her voice was raw, desperate. Mom, please. They won't let me see the kids. Tyler's already planning to save himself. If you don't help me, I'll lose everything. Please, Mom, just one more chance. I took a deep breath. You already had your chance. You threw me out of my own house. You left me to rot in a motel. Now it's your turn. Mom, don't do this. You'll regret it. You'll regret everything. Click. Her scream echoed in my head long after the line went dead. For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of peace. Vanessa's downfall wasn't complete yet, but the cracks were spreading, and I wasn't the one breaking anymore. Still, late that night, I couldn't sleep. Tyler's face haunted me. Vanessa was unraveling in front of the world, but he was too calm, too quiet. And people like him didn't stay quiet without a reason. The courthouse fiasco had left Vanessa a national punchline. Memes of her screaming in handcuffs were everywhere. Headlines called her the heiress fraudster and daddy's little con artist. But humiliation wasn't slowing her down. From jail, she started sending letters. Begging letters. Manipulative letters. Pages of dramatic handwriting that swung from Mom, I love you, to if you don't help me, I'll make sure you lose everything too. She was cornered, and cornered people get dangerous. One night, Jenna Brooks, the young journalist, called me. Her tone was urgent. Mrs. Holloway, I've been digging into your husband's old business records. Something doesn't add up. Are you aware of where some of his assets came from? My stomach dropped. What are you saying? Payments, transfers, offshore accounts. Richard wasn't just successful. He was careful. Too careful. And one of his partners was Tyler's father. I froze. Excuse me. Yes. I triple-checked. Decades ago, Richard's consulting firm funneled money through a shell company connected to Raymond Hayes, Tyler's father. That's how your families crossed paths in the first place. This isn't just a greedy son-in-law. This goes back years. The room tilted. My husband. My Richard. The man who had held my hand at my mother's funeral, who kissed me goodnight every single evening, had been tied to Tyler's family all along. Was this marriage between Vanessa and Tyler even real? Or was it planned, arranged, a way to secure access to Richard's fortune? My phone buzzed again. A collect call from the county jail. I answered, my voice trembling. It was Vanessa. Her tone was frantic, but oddly triumphant. Mom, I know the truth now. About Dad. About why he changed the will. He wasn't protecting you from me. He was protecting me from Tyler. My heart pounded. What are you talking about? Dad knew Tyler's family had dirt on him. He owed them. That's why Tyler married me. Dad wanted to keep them close, to keep them quiet. He left me money because he thought I'd need it to protect myself once he was gone. That's why Tyler's been so calm through all this. He knows secrets that could bury us both. Her words rattled through my bones. Richard, my husband of 43 years, had been living a double life. And Vanessa wasn't just greedy. She was tangled in something darker from the start. Don't you see, Mom? She sobbed. Tyler used me. He used Dad. And now he'll use you. Unless we stand together. For a brief, insane second, I almost pitied her. Almost. But then I remembered the motel, the $200, the venom in her eyes when she called me useless. You expect me to believe you now? I said coldly. After everything? She screamed into the phone. I'm your daughter. You can't just throw me away. The irony almost made me laugh. That was exactly what she had done to me. After I hung up, Jenna's words echoed in my head. Richard's ties to Tyler's father. Vanessa's claim that her marriage wasn't built on love, but leverage. And then it hit me. The reason Richard changed the will wasn't just to protect me from Vanessa's greed. It was to make sure Tyler never controlled the fortune. That clause about contingent treatment. It was a trap, not for Vanessa, but for the Hayes family. Richard had seen this storm coming. Later that night, I received an email from Jenna. Attached was a scanned letter Richard had written to his attorney 6 months before his death. I opened it with shaking hands. His words burned into me. If anything happens to me, know this. Vanessa has fallen under the influence of men who see her as a pawn. She is blind to their manipulation. I fear Tyler has married her for access, not love. Protect Margaret. Protect what we've built. My daughter must learn the cost of blind trust. I stared at the screen, tears stinging my eyes. Richard hadn't just anticipated betrayal. He had documented it. He'd left me the map. The secret was out. Vanessa wasn't just greedy. She was a pawn in Tyler's family's game. And Richard's ghost was still pulling strings from the grave. But one question lingered, chilling me to the core. If Tyler's father had been entangled in Richard's business for decades, what else had been hidden from me all these years? The next week was a blur of reporters, lawyers, and whispers I couldn't ignore. Richard's secret letter had changed everything. My husband had seen the Hayes family for what they were. He'd built his will not just as an inheritance, but as a trap. And now the jaws were snapping shut. Tyler's mask finally cracked. Investigators uncovered fraudulent investment portfolios, offshore accounts linked to his father, and evidence that the forged will wasn't his first scheme. He wasn't just Vanessa's smooth-talking husband. He was a criminal heir in a long family tradition. The shockwave hit court like a bomb. Tyler was led away in handcuffs. The smug calm he'd worn for weeks vanished the second the indictment was read. Conspiracy, fraud, racketeering. His father's name surfaced in sealed FBI files. The Hayes family empire wasn't just powerful, it was rotten. And Vanessa? She exploded in open court. The prosecutor calmly read the evidence. Her emails to Tyler about cutting Mom out, the fake signatures, the bank transfers. Then came the final nail, Richard's recorded video testimony. The screen flickered. Richard's voice filled the room. Clear, steady, unforgiving. If you're hearing this, it means my fears were justified. Vanessa, if you betrayed your mother, you lose everything. And Tyler, I never trusted you. This will is my insurance against your greed. Margaret, this fortune is yours. Use it wisely. The courtroom went silent except for Vanessa's scream. No, he can't do this. I'm his daughter. I'm his daughter. The judge's gavel slammed. Order restored. But Vanessa was finished. The irony? Richard had known her better than she knew herself. She'd walked straight into his trap, proving him right in front of the world. When the verdict came down, the gavel sounded like thunder. Guilty. Fraud. Elder abuse. Conspiracy. Vanessa sobbed as deputies led her away, mascara streaking her face. She turned once, her voice cracking. Mom, please, don't let them take me. I'm still your daughter. I didn't answer. Because the truth was brutal. She wasn't my daughter anymore. She was Richard's prophecy fulfilled. After court, the journalists swarmed me. Jenna Brooks shoved a mic toward my face. Mrs. Holloway, do you feel victorious? Do you feel justice has been served? I paused, the weight of decades pressing down. My husband's lies. My daughter's betrayal. Tyler's threats. And then I answered with the one truth I had left. No, I don't feel victorious. I feel free. That soundbite went viral. But freedom has a price. 2 nights later, I was in my renovated kitchen, sipping wine from a glass that didn't feel stolen anymore. The phone buzzed. A letter had been delivered from the federal office handling Tyler's case. I opened it, expecting more legal updates. Instead, it was another letter from Richard. One I hadn't known existed. Margaret, if the Hayes family ever turns on Vanessa, know this. I left you more than money. I left you the power to fight back. The accounts under your name are clean. They were meant as protection, not wealth. If you're reading this, I failed to protect our daughter from herself. Forgive me. I sank into a chair, tears flooding my eyes. Richard hadn't been perfect. He'd kept secrets. He'd made mistakes. But in the end, he had trusted me. Not Vanessa, not Tyler. Me. The next morning, I stood on my front porch as moving trucks delivered the last of Vanessa's designer furniture I'd boxed up. The neighbors whispered, snapping pictures. I didn't care. I carried one box into my new art studio, set it down, and pulled out a canvas. My self-portrait stared back, a woman standing in sunlight, no longer a shadow behind her husband or her child. That night, I agreed to Jenna's interview. On live television, I told the world how my daughter threw me out with $200 and how I reclaimed $32 million by refusing to stay silent. The headline flashed across America: Mother outwits daughter. Heiress loses fortune in fraud trial. The clip racked up millions of views. Comments poured in. Some pitted Vanessa. Most called it karma. But the moment that seared itself into history was the final question Jenna asked me live. Mrs. Holloway, what would you say to your daughter now? I looked straight into the camera, my voice steady, sharp as glass. I'd tell her the same thing she told me. Find somewhere else to die. Gasps filled the studio. Jenna froze. Social media exploded within minutes. The phrase that had once been my humiliation had become my weapon. Vanessa's betrayal had nearly destroyed me. But in the end, I didn't just survive. I won. And the world would never forget it. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought? Or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.